New people in the next.
Oh, really?
Old people sign.
Okay.
And lots of people
He
don't
drafted you last
like
night.
it, so that's why.
Call the meeting to order at 7 PM. Can we go ahead and do the roll call, please?
Commissioner Koopman.
Here.
Commissioner Hayes.
Here.
Commissioner Morocco.
Here.
Commissioner Walls.
Yeah.
Commissioner Willers.
Here.
Chair Hall.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if we can all stand and do a salute to the flag. I will go ahead and lead us. We're ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, so that will take us to D, to approve our order of agenda. Did we have any changes needed?
I have one question. Mr. Vinke, we last month voted to agendize the correspondence between the
Subcommittee.
subcommittee dealing with the response about the consolidations, and it's in the minutes, and it's like, all of a sudden, it's like, so is there a reason that it wasn't included?
Yeah, we were still working on it. And so, you know, the deadline for the agenda was last Friday, so I felt like we didn't have a version that was really ready to discuss. But I think we came to a conclusion so far that I think represents everybody's input that I received and we spoke about. So I think that the subcommittee has gotten to the point where if they're not finished, it's close to ready, and it distills everything that I think we wanted to convey.
So are we going to be discussing it today?
We can discuss it under the director's report.
Yeah, I was going to say we also could discuss it under I for items continued from
Oh,
previous
sounds like a
agenda.
good idea. Let's do that.
Yeah, because I know you did print out 2 copies, so we can pass it around.
I have a copy for everybody. So
Oh, perfect.
let's do that. We'll discuss it under I. Thank you for the suggestion.
Perfect. Okay, so then I just need a motion to approve our current order of agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, and all those in favor? Any opposed? All right, that motion passes. So that brings us to our blue folder items.
Yes, so what I submitted was Amy's presentation. So I think that's just a receive and file.
Wonderful, okay, so we could have a motion to receive and file.
I so move.
A second?
Fight over it. All right, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Wonderful, that passes as well. So that brings us to F, which is the consent calendar. I think we did notice 1 or 2 little things on the minutes from the
Okay.
June meeting.
I would like to pull the minutes.
Yes, okay, so we will pull the minutes. Is there any, that's the only thing that's in there, so.
I move we approve the balance of the consent calendar.
Thank you. Can I have a second for that one? All right, all those in favor?
Comment.
Oh, and sorry, thank you. Any public comments on the consent calendar?
There are no e-comments or attendees for this item.
Wonderful. Okay, so all those in favor
Aye.
Aye.
and any opposed? That passes as well. So then we can go on to G for the excluded meeting minutes from June 3rd.
Page 11 of the minutes, the very first line, discussion ensued regarding the summer banners.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Please.
There, that was it. That was the one. We all saw it. And then I
What was that
couldn't find
again?
It's not summer reading, well, it's summer reading, but it's summer reading.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
it. It's just a typo, yeah. And then I know we talked about this multiple months ago, but when we are doing, this is kind of just a note for, I think, whoever takes the minutes. When we are talking about the director's report, if we can just make sure we get a little more detail put into the minutes for the public, I think that would be really helpful.
I would second that request.
Right, it doesn't have to be verbatim, but
Yeah,
maybe
not
just.
verbatim, but
just
a
few-
little bit more than just like, we gave an update on this. Like, what was the update?
We can convey that to the minutes secretary.
Thank you.
And if you're going to convey to the minutes secretary, in the section on page 5 of the minutes, which is page 12 of the matter, the last section, I think a semicolon between each of the concepts that I brought up actually should be more appropriate, given that they're separate ideas. It's not one continuous list, it's each one was a separate thing. So perhaps inserting semicolons may be more appropriate. And again, going to the same comment about having a little bit more heft in the minutes, maybe it says that you answered the questions, but it's like, well, what was your answer? Under K, it's like library director answered the commission's question and provided clarification. Heft. That's all I have.
I think for me, just enough to jog the memory, because when it says answer questions, I don't remember. So just, but we don't need a dissertation.
Okay. So my question is, the question is, do we approve with changes, or would you like these brought back at a future meeting?
At this point, I'm okay with approving with changes right now, unless there's,
Yeah, I feel the same, and more just a note that in the future.
Thank you.
Actually, the part, I'm like tracking the section dealing with microfilm archive stuff, and you keep on bringing new information and telling us the progress, and it would be nice to be documented in the minutes that this is the measurable process. So
Okay.
if you can
Prefer to-
just focus on that one, and I guess the Open Plus is probably another one where you've talked substantially about it, that you probably want to put in where we're at,
Okay.
as you reported it before.
So then if we can add that to the agenda for
Oh, we can bring it back.
August, yeah. With changes. Good,
I would vote in favor of that.
okay. Do we need to vote to agendize that then?
What?
Do we need to actually vote to agendize that?
To table it till next meeting?
Yeah, I don't think we do.
You can, you probably should, just so it gets recorded in the minutes. That way.
So if we can have a motion then that we're gonna have those edits made to the meeting minutes from June 3rd and brought back to the August meeting.
So moved.
A second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Wonderful, thank you. Okay, so then that brings us to H for public participation on any non-agenda items.
There are no e-comments or attendees for this item.
We have a guest in the audience. I don't know if you were here to speak.
I'm here to speak.
Okay,
I'm on the agenda.
later on the agenda. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so then that will take us to I, and this is where we can then talk about the commission consolidation plan letter.
Sure.
That's a copy.
You have a copy yourself, because it looks like you gave us more copies.
I do.
He still has us.
Are there any extras, or?
Two extras.
Okay, I'll come.
That would make sense, because you guys have yours.
No, he brought them for us.
Here we go. Wonderful, thank you. Do you want me to speak a little bit to what is in the letter so far, or did you want to take the floor on that?
Yeah,
actually, would it
Maybe-
be okay if I have a few minutes to read it?
Sure.
I think that's
Is that
fine.
okay?
You want to take,
This is my first time seeing it, so.
Yeah.
And it may make more sense for you to give us an update from the city's perspective of what their timing is on it.
well, I understand that it's agendized for the next city council meeting where there'll be discussion. And so my direction I received would be that we would submit this letter, and then it would be attached to the item for council's review, in addition to any sort of feedback that they get from the other commissions that are impacted by this move. The consolidation, I think there's a lot of details that they're going to have to work out moving forward. But my understanding is that commissioners would need to be, last council meeting, they approved a new timeline for those that were interested in applying for commission. And I believe that if, depending on what happens, there'll have to be a configuration available for when the commission start in October.
And were we still thinking that the letter needs to go then to council by July 3rd?
Right. Generally, I'll look at my calendar just so I'm absolutely certain. Obviously, the sooner the better, but we try to have our items completed and submitted by end of business the Wednesday before the following council meeting.
Yep.
It's not to say that sometimes things will get delayed, but that's just our goal, to make things smoother, because there are obviously a lot of projects that need to make it through the pipeline, so to speak. So that would be my.
It should be doable that we can.
Yeah, I'm also on charter review, and we were told July 3rd was when we had to get our submissions, but they're not going to put out the minutes until the 5th, so it'll be your connect coordination with them, I think.
Right.
I think it's well written. I think it expresses, at least I know what I submitted and what we had discussed in our last meeting. There are a couple of either typos or grammatical issues. One of them in the first paragraph, third sentence, where it says the commission has some concerns regarding the consolidation of the Redondo Beaches historical, et cetera. I think the word "the" is not necessary there. Minor detail, but
True.
could be distracting.
Okay.
And then in the third paragraph down, it looks like someone was intending to just remove a comma and instead inserted a comment that said no comma.
Right. I think we
dash.
caught that one.
Not meant to.
So thank you.
I also think that same paragraph between more and commissioners, there's 2 spaces instead of 1. That's a very nitpicky formatting thing, but.
What paragraph is that?
So it's in paragraph 3, and it's between the first sentence and the second
Okay.
sentence, yeah.
In the first paragraph, the first line, well, the first sentence, excuse me, I just want to make sure, this Library Commission met to discuss, among other topics, the City of Redondo Beach Commission. There should be a possessive there? The City of Redondo Beach Commission's consolidation plan, or is it, you see what I'm saying?
I think I took that verbiage from the administrative report.
Oh, okay.
I think it's correct, because they're putting forth a plan to consolidate multiple commissions.
Okay. In the second paragraph, I would like to, in the third line of the second paragraph towards the end, I would like to delete believe and just say we are making a meaningful contribution.
Good catch.
Yeah, I don't,
The second page?
the first page.
First page.
First page, second paragraph.
Second paragraph.
Oh, second paragraph.
Yeah.
The last word in the third.
Last word is-
yeah,
Value their
paragraph.
Involvement in and are making.
And are making, yeah, no believe, we are. Also, it would be nice just to break it up, because it's a lot of paragraphs. I'm thinking that last line, we've advocated for expanded public service hours, open plus, maybe make those into bullets, just quick little bullets, so people can kind of see those right away. The same thing I would say for the second, the following paragraph, where it says commissioners discuss thoroughly different perspectives on programming, like, do we do bullets? I'm just thinking it would be nice to break up the paragraphs.
What was I got the first bulleted list, but
Sure, give me a second. Let me make sure I do it right.
So the third paragraph, I think.
Right, the last paragraph of the last sentence of the third paragraph would be, has advocated for, and then bullet, expanded public service hours post-COVID.
okay.
Bullet, the installation of the Open Plus system at North Branch Library. Bullet, increased funding as well as a variety of other projects.
Were you saying you wanted to do bullet points in the third paragraph as well then? though?
Yes, I'm rereading. I may have just,
I don't
I may have
think
just
that,
read.
this is looking, I don't know if that.
I don't think I can. I think I was just happily writing, so.
Bullet point everything.
Just a typo, there's an extra carriage return on the second page after the first paragraph.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah, there's an extra space there.
It was actually something weird with the formatting because I was trying to fix it when I was editing it and it wasn't.
Well, that's true. And then when Becca was working on formatting it for the letterhead, and that always kind of does some crazy things. So,
Yeah.
if, pardon me, could you just tell me where that extra carriage return was?
It's after
In between the first and second paragraph.
yes,
On the second
between the
page.
first and second
Oh, I
page.
see.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
something
I see.
weird, because I tried to fix it too. I was like, I give up.
We both had that problem.
I guess if we're changing page 2 anyways now, Dana,
Sure.
it says, in the last paragraph of the first, in the last sentence of the first paragraph, provide insight into each of the topics that will arise. Maybe we could say library topics,
Yes.
because we're talking about the Public Amenities Commission now. So I guess you're going to have
Oh,
to
I
come
see.
sign this
Yeah.
another day.
Into each of the, so you would like to say
Well, I
library?
think because
Tom?
we don't care about the other commission's topics, it's more that the library topics.
You're saying
are
the
going to
third
get-
one down, right? Like selected library topics?
Well, it says in the last paragraph, last sentence, it says address and provide insight into each of the
Topics.
library topics that will arise, because we don't care about the, parks and rec topics.
Right now, we don't care.
On the second page of the second paragraph, the first line, the Library Commission does see the potential benefit of combining with, as opposed to being combined. Combining with the Historical Commission.
So on that same paragraph that we're talking about, because the proposal on the table is a combined 4, maybe we should lead that paragraph with as an alternate with a comma there. Because one of the things we're talking about is just combining with the Historical Commission. And with that, I would note, since on the first page we mentioned that we've had few meeting cancellation with the exception of the holiday and few vacancy, the Historical Commission has just recently gone through 2 straight meetings of cancellation for lack of quorum. So given the positions that we have coming up and everything, I think we can be more assertive and say that the Historical Commission should be folded into our commission. We'll be able to do the same purpose, and we can also have the focus on library, but a museum is kind of like a library in many ways in getting information, and what we already have coming out of our research assistance is that. So maybe saying that the Historical Commission should be combined into the Library Commission and make it focus that if they do this alternative, the Library Commission will still be there. Also, since we're talking about stuff that we've been doing with regards to it, maybe it's a nice little place to put in that we're digitizing and tell the council that we're digitizing the Daily Breeze. We're in the process of promoting that be accomplished. And if there's a date, you can even put that this is, should hopefully will be done by whatever the date is. But that's kind of what my thoughts were on that paragraph.
So where it says as an alternative, combining with Historic Commission. You want to put more stuff into that paragraph?
Well, it says at the bottom, and to archive Redondo Beach historical materials, including newspapers and directories and yearbooks, it could say, for example, we have been working to digitize the Daily Breeze.
Okay.
And whatever point in time we're at, I don't want to wait to your director's report to find out where it is, but you've said that it started already, so maybe include that. That will give them some excitement, and maybe they'll see some additional value for keeping the Library Commission on its own, or it is the lead group with regards to the historical stuff.
I think that another sentence there, starting with for example, may be redundant because
It already has a for example.
right, it's already a for example, but what we could say is Redondo Beach historical materials, including newspapers like the Daily Breeze, or newspapers including the Daily Breeze, or something like that.
But we're
We
changing
can say
those.
recently, we've been doing this, we've taken the forefront to get this project through.
But we're changing the first entire sentence, is that correct?
Well,
I think we said we would say, as an alternative, the Library Commission does see the potential. I think all we have to put is as an alternative. And then, but I do think, I mean, this is pretty long already, so we don't want to dilute too much.
Don't worry, I have a deletion. Later on.
It's last several years in preservation and access to Redondo Beach historical materials, including our ongoing, what do you call it? Ongoing digitization of the Daily Breeze, including newspapers, or let's see, historic materials, including newspapers. Maybe we put like, just a colon. I mean, a thing that says, digitization of the Daily Breeze is ongoing.
I think you could put something at the very end
Yeah.
of that paragraph that just says like, such as current efforts to digitize the
Something,
Daily
yeah.
Breeze. Yeah, we can keep it brief, but
I would get
give
rid
it
of-
a little more of an example.
It's one word, but maybe get rid of the word significant. Has made progress. Right? So just say has made progress over the last few years in the preservation access. I mean, just to tighten it up a little bit, if you're adding.
We
Do
would
we
not
need the third
object to
paragraph on
the
the second page at
historically
all?
part of the library.
If in second paragraph on the second page, we're saying that the Historical Commission should be folded into the Library Commission.
Yeah.
We're changing that whole first sentence. Do we even need the third paragraph at all?
That was, Dana wrote that one, so I think I'll defer to whether.
Yes,
sorry,
that
Dana.
was more saying if they kept the commissions all separately, but they
Okay.
liked the idea of there maybe being more collaboration between them, that we're open to that. So that's a separate point.
Okay.
So for example, when we worked to put a letter together supporting Parks and Rec and the use of the Veterans Park Historical Library,
Right.
we did that via discussion here in a letter, but a joint commission meeting could be helpful there.
Right, and that's, again, that's information that I kind of received from our discussion, and I think the commissioners thought it was a good idea. I'm just, looking for direction on whether you think it's important to include in this discussion, or maybe it's not as relevant, given it's already a lengthy letter.
Yeah, I think it's already pretty long, so the main points are coming across, but open to other people's thoughts.
Have we had any cancellations other than for holidays?
Never, that I've been
So,
on.
because you make it sound like we've had some cancellations.
I don't think we've ever had one.
Well, I think January 1st?
That's a holiday. though.
Yeah, I think we could say with no meeting cancellations.
In memory or something like that, just because we.
I mean, there's still cancellations, though, right? Because we agreed to vote to cancel the meeting due to a holiday?
But that, you could
that you
leave
said
that part in,
holiday.
the exception of holidays, but otherwise we've never canceled a meeting since I've been on the commission,
Or
which
say
is 4
something to the
years, so,
effect of
yeah.
Or since I've been on.
no cancellations for lack of quorum
Or lack of business, I mean.
or lack of business.
We've always had meetings that I've seen in the minutes, and that's one of the driving forces that I thought was part of this was the meetings keep on getting canceled, and that's what I noticed with the historical. They've had 2 straight. Last year, starting in May, they had like 5 straight. So it's really, we're not the problem here. We may have one vacancy still, but we're not the problem.
So maybe after meeting cancellations for lack of quorum or business, with the exception of holidays and few vacancies.
Which we hope they're going to fill in September.
Right. What are your?
Yeah, you had a,
I have more. I mean, I want, sorry. I just wanted to make sure we were done with the second paragraph.
I think so.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to go to the deletion first. It's the regardless paragraph, the one sentence. I say we get rid of it. I almost feel like that sounds like a concession. Like, well, if you're going to do it, but yeah, here you go, no.
Okay.
No, let's be firm. No, get rid of it. And then I had, wanted to see, I understand what this sentence is saying, but I almost feel like it opens the door of, I don't want to say negativity, but it's a paragraph, it says, while most people think of the library as just home for books, in reality it's much more than that, with numerous other services that many in our community rely on. I think if we do keep that in there, we need to delineate what those services are that we can transfer over. Otherwise, but the problem with that is that it then gets too long. So I almost want to but I almost want to get rid of that sentence, because it just sounds I feel like it opens the door for people to think that the library is dated and old-fashioned, and it's not.
Well, I guess I wrote it, what I meant was, this is where people come, not just for books, but there's all these resources that they come in for, and the homeless people, and tax forms, and, send the teens, and the list goes on. So
Study rooms.
So I think that, and the computer access for people who don't have internet. So I do think that, without lengthening too much, that other services that many in our community rely on, you could put maybe 2 or 3 as a sample, but I do think it's not just books. And I think I do think most of the people, when I say I'm on the library commission, I have no idea what what other besides books that entitle, so.
Do we think that the consolidation would adversely impact those services? I don't know that I can take a strong stance on that.
Well, it's just more if, something comes up, and let's just say there was a question of funding for computers, and there's the Parks and Rec, 8 Parks and Rec people saying, well, that's dumb. So that was my point, that, there's the homeless, stuff that might come up that these guys encounter, they don't have a voice anymore on the commission. So I do think that could affect it.
I feel like what you said about adding the services, access to computers, access to tax forms. Honestly, I just received the email about air conditioning.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds,
nice, yeah.
I mean, usually June is full of June gloom. This past month has been one of the warmest Junes I remember in a long time. That was a great email. So maybe talk about stuff like that.
So what if we say, community, e.g., computer access,
Yeah, safe and cool space.
how about safe and safe study environment?
So we can do access to periodicals, access to books, access to computers, study rooms.
I think we already say books, so then it's.
Oh, okay, then here are the services for children, toddler story time. There's a thing that I have access to, that I mentioned this before, it's the Redondo Beach Public Library versus Amazon services and how much money you'd be saving, so I'm literally reading off of that. So there's the story time, evening story time, STEM story time. I mean, some of these might be dated, summer reading program, homework help.
I think, we
just
only
need
do
that.
like
Yeah.
2 or 3
No,
because.
that's fine, but I was
What you
sharing.
haven't talked about is community outreach, that we are probably the most effective tool the city has to getting to the community. And because I know public safety wanted us to fold into them because of the fact that we do a lot of community outreach. And when we hear the adult programs, I'm sure that's going to be part of it as well. Can we talk about consistency?
What if we said it in that paragraph that we're talking about, and it says day in, day out, we feel that the library is, say it again, what you were saying, Rob?
About community outreach?
Yeah, that the library is one of the most useful and effective
Community outreach.
vehicles for community outlets, yeah.
Yeah.
Whoever made the comment that we're getting long on it probably was correct. It
Yeah,
looks
we
like
gotta
we're
be
going to spill into 3 pages.
Yeah, we want to say to 2 pages.
On consistency, so in the last paragraph, it starts off the commission. Every other paragraph, we use the word library commission.
Yeah, we can have that in.
And similarly, we have library both in capitalized terms and lowercase. And we capitalize in the second to last, well, the libraries and institution paragraph. Library services is capitalized, so.
That's because it
I think it's
was,
capitalized everywhere except maybe that very final paragraph.
because I followed what Dan had provided us. so.
Yeah, but I think we're not being consistent, so.
You have to be
Yeah,
consistent.
we'll double check it.
We can go through that.
And then my English isn't that great, but I think in the last, what support of our city library system is it city's library system with an apostrophe S?
The second to last paragraph.
No, the last
the last
The
paragraph.
very last.
Yeah, it could be either way.
Part of our-
Either
yeah,
one.
Either way.
City library system, cities.
I wouldn't put it
Of
apostrophe.
our city's library system.
Nah.
Or we can just say Redondo's Beaches library system?
I like R because it's our.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody reading this and everybody wrote it.
Yeah.
And if we're looking to economize on words in that first paragraph on paragraph 2, lasting 1 to 2 hours, you could probably say up to 2 hours, which will at least knock out another word and maybe get the paragraphs more aligned. But I think it's a good letter. I think you guys have done really well.
Great letter.
It's a great letter.
So I would say, Dana, if this works for you, I can make these changes.
Okay,
And then get it to you tomorrow. And
That
then
would
you can
be
come down and sign it.
most
Tomorrow
helpful.
too.
Thank
So,
you.
okay.
Oh, one last thing.
Yes.
Are we doing Oxford commas or not? Because I feel like we are in some places and some not. I'm just trying to be consistent.
I always use Oxford.
I don't know.
I don't care.
That's your guys' call. You're signing it, so you can.
Just because I
Well,
saw,
some, like, I mean, some, so
Yeah.
I work in advertising, in media, and so some now the thing is to have comma before and some, so it changes.
I know,
I guess
'cause
it's
I go
just-
back,
I'm old
my
school. where I
journalism
take it
days
out,
is to
yeah.
not do it, but yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know if they've changed it.
So it is now, I mean, I read a lot of stuff where it is the and, comma, and, so I guess as long as we're consistent.
Okay, I'll double check that.
there is one, it's in the 4th paragraph on the 2nd page of services to residents of all ages, comma, ethnicities, add a comma there, and income levels throughout the year, day in and day out.
Yeah, okay.
And there's
You can tell which ones I wrote without the comma.
provides referrals, you have the double plural, so maybe provide referrals?
Frequently provides referrals.
Is it provide referrals, is that?
Yeah.
Library Commission frequently provides. The commission provides. No, I think it is.
Commission
Yeah,
provides.
It is, yeah.
Right, yeah.
The English committee.
It's always, yes, exactly. I'm always like, it's good to bring back all of our English knowledge. Okay, any other comments on the letter and anything from the public?
There are no e-comments or attendees for this item.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then just as liaison, I just want to tell you how much I appreciate the effort that's gone into this letter. And I feel like, whatever happens, we want to make sure your voices are heard. And this really does reflect, it's hard to distill all the work the commission's done for the library, but I think this does a really good job. So thank you all.
So I do have one question. It's a Brown Act question, so Commissioner or Chair Hall is going to be signing the letter tomorrow. Is there some place that you can stick it on a wall so that we don't have to, you don't have issues with Brown Act stuff of sending it to all of us copies of it, or?
Well, it'll come out with the agenda.
Yeah, I think we would just put it in the agenda packet in August, like we did.
Well, no, I'm
No, we
sorry.
were talking about July's
It'll
meeting.
be the.
Oh, it'll be
yeah,
in the councils.
It'll be in the council agenda packet, probably not the.
Will it be in the agenda packet? Has the city manager said it was going to be if we put it out?
No, we had that discussion. That's, I mean, trying to align with the Brown Act, the best way to get it out to everybody here in commission. I mean, I'll have to look into it, but I understand what you want. I just feel like the easiest path would be that if we are able to attach it to the item at council, which is what I understood, just like the last letter regarding the budget was attached to the library's budget recommendation for council to review. That would be probably the easiest way to get it out to everybody, but.
Well, for example, if it doesn't get into the agenda packet as a separate item, is there some place in the library you can post it to the bulletin board or have it as a reference text so it's available to the public? It's available for me to go there and grab a copy and go give it to my councilman person, for example.
I can, offline, I can look into that. I assume that because once it's signed, it's like most of our information, it's public records. So, you know, if we were to get direction that the commission, once it's signed, would like to make it publicly available, then, you know, unless I hear otherwise, I'll check with city clerk's office and city manager's office. I honestly don't see an issue with it, but, you know, we put the proposed budgets, we put many city documents out, and at least made them available at the reference desk.
Well, I think we usually take a copy of the final signed letter and put it in our agenda packet
Yes.
for the following month too.
But,
So it
yeah,
would
but that's
and
gonna be
it's-
well
I
after
understand
the
what you're
fact.
saying. It's past when the council's gonna make their decision, but
But if I need to go lobby my council person, I can.
I would have to get a little bit of direction, but I can find out as soon as possible what way, once the signed copy is available, that can be delivered to our commissioners. So,
I mean, I think also as a liaison of our commission, you could speak to your city council member with what we've just discussed in our
Yeah,
meetings as
so-
well, with it, which is public.
So I would like to make a motion consistent with what we just talked about, that it would be made available to our commissioners prior to the council meeting, if it's not in the agenda packet.
We have a second for that then.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And any
Public
opposed? Okay. Thank you, that passes. Okay, so this will bring us then to J, items for discussion prior to action, and we'll go straight to J1, discussion for Redondo Beach Public Library adult programming, which I am guessing is our guest, so please join us.
I'm Amy Feller, and I do the adult programming and outreach for the Redondo Beach Library. Now, I know you have all had a bird's eye view of children's and teen programming from our youth services librarian, Hilaire Hamilton Mitchell. So I am here to give you that same bird's eye view for adult programming. So adult programs are supposed to reflect the mission statement of the Redondo Beach Library, which is that the library provides services and materials in a welcoming atmosphere to meet the information, educational, recreational, and cultural needs of all library users. We're supposed to ensure that the library is a welcoming place for community members to gather and be actively engaged in the community. We should enrich the lives of the community by empowering personal and educational growth where all come to learn, discover, create, and connect. We raise awareness and visibility of the library to the community through all these services. We cover a variety of community interests, just back. You jumped ahead one. Okay, cover a variety of community interests and creative outlets, including music, books, and authors, technology, local history, life lessons, purpose, health, safety, crafts, and hobbies. We respond to current and emerging interests of our public. We promote the library and the use of library resources. Our goal is to get library card signups, get people to purchase from the Friends of the Library, get people to use the computers. All of this results from library programming. We like to bring real artists, real authors, real teachers, real people into the library directly, not just through a computer screen. We want the people to learn something or be entertained or both. Next. Adult programs promote lifelong learning. We look for new, innovative, and engaging programs. It's a form of a relationship building with the community. We evaluate and assess current programs. We engage with community partners such as the South Bay Literacy Council, the Water Replenishment District, where we had 2 programs, one at the North Branch Library on small space gardening and one at the main library on edible gardening. We had 64 people at one event and 52 people at the other event. We work with Beach City's Health District for a number of topics, dementia, purpose, and other senior topics. We work with HELP, which stands for Health and Elder Law Practices, and the Foundation for Senior Services, where we cover a number of topics that are interesting to seniors or important to seniors. Some of the recent ones were fall prevention. We have one coming up next week, legal documents that seniors should have, like a do not resuscitate or a medical order for life-sustaining treatments, wills, trusts, that type of thing. We've worked with LA Opera Speakers Bureaus to get programs on their current operas and operas in general. We've worked with the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation for financial services for people and avoiding scams. We also work with Redondo Beach Police and Fire Department on safety issues. We've partnered with a group called Teens for Technologies that helped adults learn computer skills, book publishers, local businesses, and other local senior services agencies. Next. We promote our programs through our website, our online calendar of events, digital signage, social media like Facebook, flyers, posters, and monthly newsletters. We try to get some continuity in our posters so they're easily recognizable by our public. If they've attended one program through HELP or the Department of Financial Services, they'll immediately be able to spot that that's another of their programs. We have email pushes out through a program we purchased called Library Aware. It sends an email newsletter at the end of the month for the next month's program at the libraries, and also can be pushed out on demand for a program we really want to highlight. We send press releases to our local newspapers like the Beach Reporter, the Easy Reader, the Daily Breeze, and the Peninsula News. And we also promote some of our programs through specialty groups like clubs. We're going to have a beach-related program coming up at the end of the month. So we will reach out to dive and surf shops, the LA County lifeguards, that type of thing. Next. So adult program creation. When someone goes to a program and sees the program, that's really just the tip of the iceberg. They're seeing the audiovisual setup, the tables, the chairs, the podium, the presenter, there's an introduction, there's a moderator. But the real work for programming is like an iceberg beneath the surface. There's the concept of the program. What types of programs should we present? Researching the program. Is it a legitimate program, not a sales pitch? Details of the program so we know how to market it. Scheduling the program, picking a date on the calendar in our very busy meeting rooms that we share with other city departments and outside agencies, and then promoting the program. Next. So we have printed marketing materials every month. We have a monthly newsletter, front and back, which shows every program for the month on it. It's posted on our bulletin boards, on our website. It's a takeaway. So people come into the library, they look for that at the end of the month and the beginning of the month. They're looking for this calendar that they can grab and take away with them. We also send press releases, like I said, to all those newspapers. We send it at the end of the month for the next month, and then we send it mid-month again for the programs that are going to be coming up in case it's gotten on a back burner. We want them to get in the Beach Reporter and the Daily Breeze and the Easy Reader. Next. So our printed marketing, it gets posted on our bulletin boards, in our library display cases, which are in the lobbies of both libraries, at the information desk, where people come to talk to the librarians, to ask them questions. But while they're standing there, waiting their turn or waiting for an answer, we feel that the flyers are something they can look at and see and decide if it's a program they want to attend. And we also do large posters that we put in the lobby to highlight a program that's coming up within the next week to 10 days usually. Next. So we also have some digital marketing. We've gotten a QR code now so that people can scan it to subscribe to our library newsletter. We have emails. We do marketing on the self-checkout machines, which are those self-serve kiosks where you go and you put in your library card number and then slide your book forward. There's a display, so we have all of our flyers on that also. There's digital signage, social media like Facebook. And I just talked about the QR code where you can lift your phone up to that QR code and it'll take you right to the link to sign up for the digital newsletter. Next. So types of programs we have. We have book discussions, which are still on Zoom. Pre-pandemic, they were in person. Then pandemic, we went to Zoom, and we've stayed with that model for now for a few reasons. People are a little hesitant about coming back and sitting in the small room for the book discussion. It's pretty intimate. And also, the library used to be open until 7:30 at night. And the book discussions are from 6:30 to 7:30. So by keeping the Zoom schedule, we're able to keep that 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. discussion, which we probably wouldn't be able to do if we brought them back live. We would have to change the time so that the people were out by the time the library closed. We have lots of author talks. We have local authors. Sometimes we have authors that are more acclaimed. We have programs on beach culture. Like I said, at the end of this month, we have a program. In fact, on July 27th, it's Patrick Moser who writes books on beach culture. So 5 years ago in 2019, we presented a program on a book he wrote called Surf and Rescue, which was about George Freeth and the birth of the lifeguard movement. It was so popular, we had 148 people come to that program. Now, this next program that we have on July 27th is called Waikiki Dreams, and it's about how California appropriated the Hawaiian beach culture. And it's a little bit about like white nationalism and the history of that and how they didn't fully embrace the Native Hawaiians and how California's movie industry chose how they would portray surfers and Hawaiians in movies and the media. So I think that will be a popular program. We're looking forward to having Patrick Moser back. But we've had other beach programs. We've had one that was called Women on Waves by a different author. And we've had programs on beach culture, cooking. We recently had a few garden programs. We had a themed garden program, and then the two I mentioned that were partnered with the Water Replenishment District that were very popular. We regularly have meditation and mindfulness programs, and I've just scheduled a couple of beginner yoga programs for the next couple of months, so those should be great too, with a person that we've used before. We have a very large poetry community in Redondo Beach, so our poetry programs are very popular. We have a monthly poetry workshop that's attended by quite a few people. It's about 12 to 15 each month where they work together. Every April, we do National Poetry Month celebration where we get some celebrated poets to come and talk, plus the people that are in the poetry workshop get a chance to read their poems. That was in April, and there were 57 people at that one. We do some theatrical readings in October. We're bringing back a presenter that does Edgar Allan Poe readings. We do computer safety for adults. That's one of the programs that we teamed with Teens in Technology, where teens were showing adults how to sign up for different kind of computer services, apps, and Facebook, and how to be safe about it. Our local history programs are pretty popular. We had a program a couple of years ago about Redondo Beach in 1918 and the Spanish flu pandemic. That was a very popular program, put on by two of our reference librarians. We do a lot of health programs. We've partnered with the people that are fitness specialists, physical therapists, Beach City Health District, programs on stroke prevention during Stroke Prevention Awareness Month. We've done music programs in the past, and in September, we booked a music program that we've had the performer before. It's going to be a guitar program, and we're going to combine it with Hispanic Heritage Month because he's going to do Spanish guitar. We do how-to programs like how to raise a guide dog puppy, how to decide and make decisions, how to self-publish a book, how to volunteer at various organizations, how to protect your passwords and avoid email scams, and safely use social media. Presenters for some of these programs that we partnered with is the Foundation for Senior Services, HELP, the Redondo Beach Police Department, the South Bay Literacy Council, and the LA Opera Talks. Next. These are just some photos for adult programs. The one on your left is quantum physics, and I know it doesn't sound exciting, but that presenter presents every year and gets a 50-plus audience. He also does a program called Lasers I Have Loved, where he does a laser demonstration and talks about how lasers are used in various technologies. The photo on your right is Mary Simon from the Friends of the Redondo Beach Library, teaching people how to fold books into art. That was a fun program, and if you go to the Friends of the Library bookstore, you can see some of the samples. Next. Program your top left is the gardening program at the North Branch Library. The one in the middle is, I think, one of the quantum physics or the laser program again. The one on the top right is the gardening program at the main library, as well as the one on the bottom. Next. So the summer reading program and National Library Week is all-inclusive with adults now. The first sponsored National Library Week started in 1958. And during National Library Week, we always have an annual opportunity drawing where gift cards can be won, which is sponsored by the Friend of the Redondo Beach Library. And this year we had 269 people put in opportunity drawing tickets. The summer reading program was adopted in 2010, really by the American Library Association, because teachers really complained that over the summers they saw a dip in children's reading when they came back to work. So the ALA started this summer reading program to promote reading over the summer for children so they wouldn't lose their skills. But to be inclusive and promote the library as a family activity, almost all libraries now have included adults in the summer reading program, as we have. So we have a number of programs that happen during the summer, which are part of the summer reading program. We have opportunity drawings for that too, once a week. We pull a raffle opportunity ticket and people can win gift cards. I think we're doing Starbucks for the summer reading program for adults. And we already have 170 signups, and this is just the first day of July for the adults. So next. So on March 14, 2020, right before all of our March programs, the library shut down and the world shut down pretty much due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So the library really had to pivot all of our in-person programming to provide some virtual library programs for people. But we did find some benefits to virtual program. Accessibility, flexibility, no transportation issues, scheduling was easy. Our in-person programming resumed very slowly in April of 2021 with restrictions. Programs were limited, attendance was limited. We found that a lot of the patrons were still reluctant to share space with others out of safety concerns, and many of them still are. We do a lot of programs with seniors, and a lot of them are worried. Our goal is to be able to get some hybrid programming, which would be Zoom plus in person. So it would be the same program at the same time, in the same place, but we would get the technology where people could view it from home as well as be in the audience. Next. So I just have some statistics for the last few years. So in 2020, again, the library shut down on March 14th. So we had 26 programs for the year with 355 attendees. That number it seems a little skewed, and I can explain why. We had a program with Beach Cities Health District via Zoom at the very beginning of the pandemic and talking about the pandemic. And that had over 100 attendees. In 2021, still it was Zoom only. We had 29 programs on Zoom with 332 in attendance. Our adult summer reading program that year was only online signups. There was nothing in person, but we had 156 online signups. In 2022, we had 48 programs with attendance of 541. Zoom programs were 37, and attendance for those was 279, January through March. And then in April, we started back with some limited in-person programming. We had 11 programs in person from April to December with 262 attendees. That year, our National Library Week opportunity tickets were 248, and the adult summer reading signups were 80. In 2023, we had 54 programs, attendance of 934, 21 Zoom programs with 131 people attending, and 33 in-person programs with 803 people attending. The National Library Week had 262 people submit tickets, and the summer reading had 121 adults. So now our stats are only January through June of this year. We've had 27 programs, attendance 475, Zoom, 6 programs with 30 attendees, in person, 21 programs with 445 attendees. National Library Week, we had 269 opportunity drawings submitted. And the adult signups as of today is actually 170, not 140. As there, because I counted this morning. Next. So the Friends of the Redondo Beach Library this year has graciously allocated $7,000 to us to fund adult programs for honorariums, supplies, branded merchandise as promotional material and equipment. So some of the things that we're looking at is we want to buy some craft materials. We want to get some AV equipment. Under equipment, we like to have some redundant AV equipment, and we would also like to look into purchasing what we would need to do that hybrid programming, which would be the Zoom plus the in-person programming. We're looking at using some of that money to host a local Redondo Beach history trivia contest. So that is it, and if anyone has questions, ask away.
I had one.
Thank you so much for everything you
Yeah,
shared.
amazing, first off. Now that we have a Michael's in town, has there ever been thought to, with the crafts, try to combine them and get them to donate stuff?
I think it would be excellent opportunity to see if they could come over and
Run
host a
some of it, yeah.
program and use all their supplies and say all these supplies are available at Michael's. I think that sounds like a great idea to reach out to them.
I had a question on your promotions. One of the things you talked about was digital signage. Can you give us a little more detail around that? It's something that we talk about quite frequently from a library perspective.
We only have a little bit of digital signage. It's in the library, it's in both libraries, and it is at the computer area. It's not only library programs, it is some city programming also. But we would like to get some lobby digital signage. We feel that if we could get some lobby digital signage, we could reduce the paper we use on the bulletin boards. I mean, most people come in and take their phone out and take a photo of the hard copy paper flyer on the bulletin board. They could do the same with digital signage. And instead of making so many copies that get thrown out at the end of the month, we could do it with digital signage if we could get some signage for the lobbies of both libraries.
Cool, I love that, thank you.
How big is your team?
It's me.
Just you?
It's just me.
Busy guy.
Yes.
And this is all you do is adult
I
programming?
just do adult programming and outreach, yes.
So is the $7,000 the only funding you get for what you're doing?
Yes.
Is there a reason you haven't come to the commission and asked us to see if we can get some more money put into the budget to support what you're doing?
Is there a reason, Dana, that I haven't?
No, I can answer that. No, I can. In my experience working in other libraries, traditionally the Friends have sponsored, for a variety of reasons, the adult programs, and they also sponsor here the youth summer reading program and a lot of the other programs. So again, having come here to Redondo, I wanted to move forward with that template since it was so successful at other places. So with the help of Amy, we went to a board meeting of the Friends, I think in February, and requested as a pilot some funding for adult programs, because prior to this, there was no money. Amy was doing this alone, and she is part-time. So a lot of what she did, I mean, really, if you take a look at it, she did an amazing job with very little funding. Of course, you know, there's the use of resources and her incredible time. But now that the Friends have generously sponsored our programs, the music program, we're able to provide a modest honorarium. No one's going to get rich off of doing programs at the library. But if we are also get folks that want to do a craft program, then we can work with them to at least purchase the supplies. So this is the first time, and we don't know exactly once we.
And I'm very excited about it, because before that, when I talk to people about programming, I was always saying, now you realize you're donating your time and expertise. Now we do have some money for honorariums. It's small, it's 2 to maybe 350, but especially music programs, most of those people, do want some funding. We've had an author and a poet, so we've used it 3 times already.
And
Your
sorry, just
audiovisual equipment is not something that's going to cost $7,000. So it should be something you should be coming to us and saying, put it in our letter for the budget so that we can support it. You're doing amazing work, given the limitations that you have and the limited funding. I think the Friends of the Library is a great resource for you, but that's like icing on the cake. You should be, for such a program that has such a wide community outreach, be able to get the city to put up some additional funds for things like the audio-visual equipment, or I think I mentioned the last time, let's see if we can get George Takei over here. He's not exactly probably going to be cheap on the honorarium, but special programs where you think that you can bring in more people, that's part of what we do here, is trying to help support the library in that way. So, and even if it means, do we need to have either you coming full-time or having assistants that will help you? Because I've seen you work at some of the adult programming. You were like all over the place, and I really do appreciate the work you do.
you.
But it would be nice to be able to maybe get student interns to come and help you and create a program where you can train more people to do the stuff that you do. So don't, and this is more towards you because she's going to be coming to you in your regular meetings. Don't feel reluctant. If you have a dream of wanting AV equipment that lets you do hybrid stuff, bring it through Dana to us. Obviously, he'll be the screen deciding, and we'll see if we can get it into the mid-year budget or something like that.
That's awesome. I do have that dream.
yeah, I just.
Also, when we met to talk about marketing, there was ways, like the Michaels thing, we talked about, going out to get more donations and stuff like that. So maybe it's also, some of this is, the AV, maybe there is, RCA or whoever is in town who might be willing to be part of our, we create like a legacy program that these are people who've given us to make your job able or expand it. So maybe there's ways to look into using some of the stuff we talked about.
And I just want to say on that note, right now we're working with the city's IT department to get the current technology working. And then I think after that's up and running, then we could do a further assessment of what might be needed down the line. And they've been hugely beneficial, and they've always helped us out. So I think that you're right. After a few more programs, Amy and I could probably meet and try to address some of the things that might make a hybrid. I would certainly want to consult with our IT department before, moving forward with any recommendations. They're probably aware of technology that I'm not, but that's something definitely needs to be explored. But I would say one of my first goals was to get a budget for the adult programming. And then we will hopefully at the end of the year reassess and see, there's just a multifaceted, all the work that she does. We want to make sure that we're allocating our marketing given the limited time. We want to make sure that we're putting on programs that align with the library's mission and goals. And, at the same time address many of the topics that Amy has put forward in this document.
And the other concern I'm having with this Public Amenities Commission that they're going to put on, one of the things that it seems like they're trying to cannibalize is move the adult program to a more broader community services program, and then you're going to lose that aspect that you have going that works in the library so well, because it does cross such broad area. So that's a concern I have, and I'm hoping that it stays in your forefront as you're negotiating with hours.
The only other thing I wanted to add as far as staff is that we brought some part-time librarians on board in addition to some of our other part-time librarians, and we're working on coaching them up so they can be of assistance to Amy as well, as far as putting things in the online calendar, creating flyers. We're working towards that goal to get her some more support as well within our operation.
And perhaps some of the marketing could be turned toward, well, the Hubble telescope is, the Jim Webb telescope was made here in Redondo Beach. And why don't we get somebody from there to come and not have to pay them an honorarium? And George Takei, why can't we get SpaceX? Or Boeing, or Honeywell?
Well, that's
Or
part of the
Northrop Grumman.
marketing, yeah. I think you've laid a really good
Fabulous.
foundation. And
Thank you.
it's really, now it's like start dreaming about what you
Now
want.
Now we start thinking, and then
I do have a couple other questions. English is a second language, which is a very effective reading. Does that encompassed in the adult programming?
Not really. When we partner with the South Bay Literacy Council, I mean, that is one of the things they do, English as a second language. So they're gonna, when they come, they speak about themselves and how anybody could volunteer to help them help people learn English, for English as a second language, and all the volunteer opportunities there are, not just teaching, but, behind the scenes too. We actually, pre-pandemic, not since the pandemic, went the opposite way here at our libraries. We were having programs where people could come once a month with an instructor and learn Spanish or learn French and learn Italian. We had those three, but they dropped when the pandemic hit and all those instructors went away. We haven't found new ones. So kind of the reverse of what you were saying, not English as a second language, but people that spoke English that would like to learn some other languages.
No, but as far as summer reading programs, getting more people that don't speak English to read English in a structured setting may actually increase your numbers and also provide source of fundings that you may not have found through grant writing, for example.
It's something we could definitely explore. I know that the Youth Services Department currently has a bilingual story time,
Yes,
but
they do.
we could definitely survey that audience and see what else types of programs they might be interested in. Thank you.
And I guess before
I have a few questions too, but.
Okay, let me my last comment, I think at this point is, if you're looking for more presenters to partner with, I know the local Toastmaster group does a lot of public speaking, and they can structure their experience, they can structure topics consistent with whatever topic you want to talk about. So if you want to have a presenter on a certain topic, they can create the speeches and presentations for that.
I would love to reach out to you to get a contact for the local Toastmasters group and then work with them and see what speakers might want to talk about, what things that they already want to talk about. And if none of those are any good for us, then we'll pick a topic. But they probably already have some canned presentations that would work.
Some of them do. Go ahead, sorry.
I know that we receive a monthly statistics of how many people attend the events and everything. Do we have, or have you collected demographics within your attendees?
Age, race, that type of thing?
More
No.
age than anything.
Well, no, we haven't, but I've been working on a program survey form that you would get after the program. I attended this program, I rated this. And there are age groups on that survey form when I finally start handing it out. However, I will tell you that most of our programming, our adult programming, is attended by 55 plus age group. Part of it might be that if it's on a weekday, it's in the daytime and people younger may be working. And even on the weekends, people younger may be spending that time with their families. I would say that most of our programs are attended by people that are 55 to 70 years old. But that's unofficially, that's just by view.
Okay. And then,
I had the exact same question, so glad you asked that.
so, because I was using that as a springboard for my next question. So I did notice that most of the groups that you associate with, or most of the audience given by the photos, are in the older demographic. I'm wondering if we could do parenting. We have a lot of, given that we have a very robust children's program, and these children are not getting here by themselves most of the time, right? The toddlers. So it'd be nice to have access to parenting, parenting skills, parenting topics, parenting anyone. I thought that'd be nice, especially since they're not, the kids tend to grow up, right? And so there might be adolescents parenting, right?
No, I think that's great because I have been challenged to reach that demographic, the younger than 55 audience.
Right.
The 30 to, 45-year-olds.
Okay.
So I think that sounds like an excellent way to try to engage them.
And then this goes to a previous conversation in terms of the library's collaboration with the school district. So have we ever collaborated with the South Bay Adult School?
I don't think I have for at least the last 10 years.
Okay. Because that might be another avenue. I know they're probably looking for space. Sometimes maybe we can do some sort of trade. They can bring some of their professors here or whoever they have, their speakers or teachers, and maybe do it here, and then be a cross collaboration of some sort, right?
We do like to collaborate. Those work out great.
Right.
Because that way they can promote it and
Right.
we can promote it.
Right, especially when my fellow commissioner mentioned Michael's. I know that the children use arts and crafts a lot, but the parents are the ones who are essentially buying them, right?
Yeah.
So if you have more adult programming for arts and crafts, and you have two demographics going into Michael's buying different things, right? You have the children and you have the adults, and the adults are the ones most likely paying for them, right? So I think they would probably like that.
It's true. When we had the themed gardening program, the woman who taught it did one of the themed gardens she showed and actually brought live, little sample of the garden. All of the things that were in it were from Michael's. And she said, I just ran over to Michael's and got them. So it worked the opposite way. She promoted Michael's, but.
And then I have an idea for a meeting for you. I don't know who would lead it. Maybe Dana could, I'm just joking. It would be how to use apps or how to use dating apps. I don't need to use a dating app. I'd probably get in trouble if I did that. But I thought it'd be kind of cool. I think people are always looking to meet people. And it doesn't have to be, you're laughing.
Not library apps.
Well, they could use library apps too, but I think people are looking, even DoorDash apps or any food apps. I think people, we can help them use their device efficiently, right? And if the library can be that source to help people use their apps, and if they can find their soulmate too, that'd be great. But I just.
A rabbit hole.
And then maybe put a disclaimer, this big, huge disclaimer on the board. But because I'm just thinking people, especially you're talking about a post-COVID world, right? And people are not interacting. And if we're trying to increase interaction with people and just gauge common interests, so that's how I started thinking about that.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I think it would work with, we probably wouldn't get the younger adults, but I think it would definitely be worthwhile for the older adults, like.
No, I think there's people who, there's
The
people.
dating apps, you're probably right. I was thinking things like Uber and DoorDash.
Yeah, but I think there might be younger than 55 would probably come in too. You just never know. So.
It's a wonderful suggestion. I like it.
I'd be happy to come to that one just to learn.
Tinder, Brian?
No,
Anybody else?
Yeah, so yeah, I know your goal is 200 adults. It sounds like I should be signing up for
You
the
should.
program. I know my wife was going through books like crazy this summer. So why don't you tell us how to go about signing up for this and what we should be doing and how does it?
Perfect. That actually is a wonderful segue for something. Okay, so if you go into the library, our signups are in person. So
Okay.
either library, you would go to the information desk, and there's a sign-up sheet. And when you sign up, you would get
I already signed up.
Oh, I'm fine. I already have one. Yes, I have one.
It's not the bag, it's what's in it.
I
okay.
just signed up at the
Okay, so
kickoff
you would
event.
get this bag, and in it are the opportunity drawing tickets.
Okay.
There's a coupon that the Friends gave us that if you buy
Oh,
a
this is
book
the
there,
SRP.
you get another book for free of the equal or lesser value. The programs that are happening. So, but that's good, Ron, because I didn't tell anyone how to sign up. Sign up by going to the library,
Just go to
write
the
your
library.
name on the sign-up sheet, and then you were signed up.
It's a good thing I didn't take her book back. Now
If
she
you all
goes
sign up, then I'll have 5 more, because you already signed up. I'll have
Exactly.
5 more, and it'll be like, I think I had 173 when I left, so I'll almost be at 180 on July 2nd.
Can you sign up online as well, or it's only
We
in
don't
person?
have an online sign up.
Okay.
Do you ever do competitions with other cities to see how many adults are participating in the summer program?
We don't do competitions, but I'm sure they all publish, they all probably publish their numbers somewhere.
And look to see
If you
whatever.
like,
others-
so if you don't want to walk into the library, I would be happy to write all your names on the sign-up sheet if that's all right with you.
I'm happy to
Oh,
go.
please
All right,
do.
because you already have your bag, I will do that tomorrow.
Thank
You gotta
you.
drop
Thank
off
you.
your opportunity drawing though.
Well, you can come to the library anytime to drop that off, the opportunity drawing tickets.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's one just for signing up, that's the orange one, and there's another one that you're supposed to like attend the library program or read a book or use a database, something like that, and drop it in the box too.
Go to a commission meeting.
So there you go.
That should be
Be a
extra
commissioner.
credits.
All right, thank you.
Sorry,
you
I had
very
just
much.
two
Go ahead.
final thoughts. So I had also been very curious about what you thought the demographic age group wise was. So thank you for sharing that. And so when we all got to go on a tour a couple of months ago of the library, and in a back corner hiding were these book club bags.
Yes.
And they only had maybe 5 or 6, and they were older books. But it got me thinking that especially if we have a goal of trying to get younger adults involved and into the library, I think the book club bags would be a great way to do it. Because there's a lot of young adults that are in book clubs, and if they could come to the library and pick up a bag that had 8 or 9 of the books and take it and discussion questions, I think they absolutely
We
would.
do promote those book club in a bag, it's called.
Yes.
I believe that those were provided by the California State Library a number of years ago.
Yeah, I was
So what-
wondering if there's a program
Right.
that's still
So what
ongoing.
the California State Library gave us like 10 titles and maybe 12 copies of each book. So it's called Book Club in a Bag.
Mm-hmm.
So it was something like you could do at your home. Like if you are at your home and you have your friends come over, you give them each a copy of the book, they come back 2 weeks later, they've read the book.
Mm-hmm.
You can sit there with a glass of wine or a milkshake and talk about the book.
Yeah,
And
well,
that
so
was
I'll
the
tell you, like, I'm in
concept of it.
Facebook groups for young professionals and young
Yeah.
families and whatever that live in Redondo. And there are like 7 or 8 book clubs that have started just in the last year out of that group that exists on Facebook. So there's tons of them. So I think if that's a program that still exists somewhere that you could tap into,
Or we can just
if
buy
you
our
thought,
own
yeah, if you thought there
copies.
was some funding that
Start
could work
with a
for
few
that, I think
titles.
that would really probably be pretty
And if you
popular.
tie in with pickleball, you get even more.
Then that's like the 45 to 65 range, yeah. And then the last thing I just wanted to mention, I'm a college professor, so if we want to talk about hybrid technology, I can tell you lots of
Oh, cool.
suggestions. I'm sure we can talk more once we know what we already have maybe from the IT department. But there are like specific cameras and things like that that you could also probably get a grant for.
Yeah, I've looked into it and, you know, we don't have that equipment now and it doesn't really work well if you don't have the right equipment. We played around with the book discussion group because
Right.
it's a pretty small group. So we tried it, but it was not ideal. You know, we had a couple of people come in the meeting room and then the rest of them were at home and we were turning the laptops around
Right.
and, you know.
So the OWL camera, the OWL camera, that's the main piece of
Okay.
equipment that's really needed for hybrid programming because it does a 360-degree view and it'll automatically zoom in on the speaker.
Okay.
And it has a microphone. So it's kind of the main one.
Right.
You can hook it up to any laptop then. So, but that's what gives you then the round the room experience. So that's what pretty much every college purchased to be able to do the hybrid.
Yeah, I mean, it's a technology that exists. It's
Yes.
just not a free technology here.
Yes, yeah. But I would imagine there might be some funding that's available to provide it to libraries for exactly this reason. So, yeah. Well, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
everything
Thank you.
you came to share with us.
Thank you.
Just to, thank you.
You okay?
You okay? Well, I do want to thank Amy for all the hard work that she's done over the years and just my short time here. I've been impressed because I was the adult programming librarian for the city of Torrance for many years, and I know what goes into that, and I really like her analogy of the iceberg. So we will definitely follow up on those suggestions, and like I said, the primary purpose, is to find programs that align with our mission here at the library. And I think she's done an amazing job doing that so far. I know COVID was a big blow to the programs, especially having built up attendance, what have you. But I think she's made an amazing comeback, and she's looking forward to more programs. And I'm glad that she has a little bit of funding to explore some of these options. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, that will take us to J2 for the director's report.
Okay.
Check in to see if there's been any public comment that came in.
There are no e-comments or attendees.
Even after my dating app question?
People tuned it off for sure.
Okay, so let me just get to that page in our agenda. So obviously, the big thing on the agenda was the budget, and I think the allocation for the library, two of our goals that we really appreciate City Council's support. We have $20,000 allocated to collections, one-time amount, and then also the approval of the library manager position, which I'm working with our Human Resources Department to complete that job description and hopefully get that out to recruitment in the coming months. Two of our librarians should be coming back from the American Library Association Conference, which is in San Diego. They got to attend, and Hilaire was actually, she was a panel moderator.
Oh, nice.
And so what in my experience in the libraries over the years is people usually come back from those things all full of ideas and certainly come back and can inform the staff as far as new trends that they've seen and some of the things that are topical. The other thing that I wanted to mention, two big things, was we were in the process of migrating our collection to Overdrive Libby from Cloud Library. And we are also migrating from Rosetta Stone to Mango Languages. We hope to have Mango Languages in place soon. That's a little bit of a cost reduction for us, but then I think having worked with Mango Languages in the past, it's a fun, interactive software that I think is very conducive to language learning, but also a component of the Mango Languages, they have a component called Little Pim, which is specifically designed for young people to learn languages. So hopefully once we get that in place, we can work with Hilaire to promote those services to some of the families in the community and kind of support that aspect of young readers and literacy. I wanted to know if you had any questions regarding some of the items on the director's report.
What's the State Library Palace project?
Oh, okay, I'm glad you asked. The Palace project, basically, some years ago, some librarians looked around and they saw that there were lots of different ebook providers, but not an easy way to kind of unify them into one. So our library has worked with the Palace project and the state library. That app is free to us through the state library. When someone signs in and we set up the back end with the different vendors, it allows you to use multiple ebook services in one place, so you're not having to kind of jump around.
What is Hilaire speaking on, or what's the panel? Is it for new services?
Well, Hilaire wasn't speaking, she was the moderator, but I think the panel was, it was Muslim authors, I believe.
Yes.
That some had written children's books and some had written adult books.
Oh, cool is that?
So it was, you know, inclusive.
Very cool.
Inclusivity. It was in, what did I forward? It was the Redondo Beach News, so it had to come from either the Daily Breeze or the Beach Reporter or the Easy Reader that, you know, alert for things that happen in Redondo Beach. I get it on my phone.
Okay.
So when I open it up, so I think it was Redondo Beach Library, and I kept trying to figure out what the link to Redondo Beach Library was because it was talking about the Muslim authors. And then I saw, oh, moderated by Redondo Beach Youth Services Librarian.
We're certainly proud of her, and hopefully they were able to take advantage of the opportunity. One of the things in making that decision, I think every 5-6 years, the conference is in California. So we certainly want to take advantage of that geographic location. It's easier for staff to get to with their schedules. So we're happy it worked out.
Great.
What's the difference between the Palace project, which is an app, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Overdrive?
Well, Overdrive would fall. Overdrive is in and of itself an ebook app, but let's say, for example, there was integration between Hoopla and Overdrive. You could go to the Palace app and see items that are available in Overdrive, Libby, and Hoopla, and any other services that you happen to subscribe to. So it's a consolidation. You obviously have to have an agreement with these other ebook providers. I should also say, though, that the state library also purchases e-content for the Palace project. So there's stuff that as long as you have a Redondo Beach Public Library card and you download and log into the Palace project book, you actually get access to some more e-content that the state provides.
Great, thank you.
I have a question that came up when you were talking about your, in your report, but I'm wondering if it should be later. So let me know if we should just discuss it for later. With Palace Project, I mean, I know you haven't officially signed up for it, right? You're just attending. But we have all these different platforms, all these different digital platforms. Right. At what point are some platforms not being used, or is there too much overlap? Because I'm wondering, right? How do we know?
Yeah. Well, I do think that we could bring that back as probably an agenda discussion item, and especially when Tim is available, since he kind of oversees all that. So it's something that I think libraries in general struggle with. Many of these services offer a unique and different services, so we can go into detail on that. It's probably a much larger discussion, but it's something that libraries are continuously evaluating.
Okay, thank you.
Questions. I was just going through your list of projects that you've been doing. Why don't you talk a little bit about the summer reading kickoff program that was on June 8th? What happened with that? What'd you guys do? What was the attendance like?
I don't know if I have the attendance. Do you, Amy?
Don't have the attendance, but
I think it was extremely well attended. Yeah.
A lot of kids.
it wasn't fair. It was was
They're really neat, yeah.
Yes.
time for the library.
I came to help set up. It was very well attended, and we really appreciate our community partners. The Redondo Beach Police Department was there, Redondo Beach Fire Department, our Community Services Department. I think Beach Cities Health
Cities
District
was
was
there,
there. And not only that, but our youth services team put together a lot of activities at various booths. The Friends of the Library obviously helped sponsor that whole event, so it's an engaging opportunity to get a lot of young people and adults signed up for summer reading. And I believe it started at 10 o'clock, or was it 11?
I think it was a little, I thought it was either noon to 3 or 11 to 2.
Right.
I think it's more, I don't think it started at 10.
11. So it's just a very successful program, and I think logistically it also works out too, because in order to have it in the traffic circle, we've got to close the diamond access to the garage, but still maintain access to the front of the police department. So it's really kind of a Herculean effort, given that just about everybody on staff helps out on it. And then in addition to that, our youth services team also coordinates with dozens of volunteers to help put it on as well. So it really does take a village, but I think it's really successful. And I know that Hilaire was impressed with the numbers. I don't have them with me right now, but I think it was very successful, thanks in no small part to her work.
Okay, and then what's the update on the Daily Breeze digitalization?
The only update that I have so far is that they have shipped a lot of those microfilms off to be digitized. And as I understand it, it would take a few months for that process to occur. And I don't have any ETA as far as when it would be publicly available. But as you probably know, the fact that the microfilm has been shipped is a huge critical step in the process. So we'll hopefully know more in the coming months. But that in and of itself, the fact that the microfilm was aggregated, boxed up, accounted for, and shipped to newspapers.com is a huge step forward.
When they say that they've actually started digitizing, that would be an even bigger
Yes,
step.
that would be the next milestone.
And then Open Plus, what's the latest on that?
Well, as you might have noticed, the last meeting I was called away briefly. So we are working with the alarm company to ensure the library is safe and secure, but at the same time that the alarms are deactivated in time for the Open Plus service. There are several alarms in place in addition to door alarms. There are motion sensors. The issue that we had specifically that night is that the glass swing doors in the interior of the library, those have to be obviously operational for Open Plus. Those, for some reason, were opening up randomly at night, triggering the motion sensor, which we did not anticipate, which is why we pilot these things before we launch. So I'm working with Public Works to take a look at the doors, see if there's a reason why that was happening, and then also working with the alarm company to see if we can mitigate that specific issue. But I mean, it's to this extent, nobody knows why when we leave the door, we have to leave the doors, like I said, on automatic for the following day's Open Plus service. No one's really been able to answer why in the middle of the night the doors swing open. It could be a library ghost. Just kidding. But so that, again, those doors swinging out would obviously trigger the alarm, which is why I started getting a bunch of calls. So we wanted to make sure the library was secure, and then go back with the alarm company and perhaps have the door vendor come out and take a look at that. I think that we have the nuts and bolts in place, but again, my first step was to have it operational for staff to test out. And currently staff is able to, when they come in before we open, they're able to enter their library card number and PIN and get access to the library. So that part of it's working. We just have to make sure that alarms and whatever don't go off when people are trying to use the system. So that's, again, it's a milestone, but we're a lot closer.
Is there a soft target date at this point?
I would just say as soon as possible. I've got to ping the alarm company again. I've been in constant contact with them since our last meeting.
Are you aware that there is a LA Dodgers reading program that's available for K through 8 students?
I'd have to check with Hilaire. I know that she works with a lot of community partners. I know that she's had the Kings out, I think, so the Dodgers, I'd have to find out from her.
Yeah, they promote 30 minutes of reading. They're a big thing a day, so. And then I know that we have a lot of months, public months. I think this is picnic month, at least I've seen on it, and a couple other special months. Did anything happen as far as, city manager's office story time, which sounds like a real interesting one, but did we do any programs for like Juneteenth or Asian Islanders, Pacific Islanders month?
I think Amy could speak a little bit to that.
Well, I can speak, for Juneteenth, we did do programs. We had 2 adult programs. We had a PBS film called Our America, the Black Experience Juneteenth. So we had that film. It was an hour-long documentary put together by ABC and Disney.
Uh-huh.
And I think we had like 13 attendees. And then the poetry workshop group dedicated their workshop that month to Juneteenth type poems. Youth services, I'm sure I'm gonna miss some, had a story time at North Branch, a story time at Main Branch. They had a lot of.
The youth services had a lot of programs. They had at least 2 story times, one at Maine and one at North, a craft. Oh yeah, we had an adult craft too. We had a take and make Juneteenth beaded bracelet after the film. Pacific Islander Month, it's a sad story. I had a program and our speaker got ill. So we did have a program scheduled, but it was canceled. I think this month is actually Disability Pride Month. I think there's a sign up for that, and there may be a youth program, a story time on that. And September will be Hispanic American Heritage Month, and we have a program for that, and I know the youth will have many programs.
Thank you, Amy.
Okay. Is the city manager the one who's actually going to read on the July 24th?
That I don't know. I don't have that on my radar, but it's definitely, if we don't do it this year, we can look at 2025.
Well, I got an email from the library today, and that was on one of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was just curious.
Oh, I honestly, just a random thought that I had this weekend because they had the Riviera Village Summerfest, was that next year it would be awesome if there was a library table down there, especially with the timing of it, to sign people up for summer reading program.
Definitely a good idea.
I do know that, I don't know if this would happen, but during Girl Scout season, the Hermosa Beach Farmers Market allows the Girl Scouts to have a free table. So you might be able to get a way to be able to ask for a free table.
We have been trying to work out the details of getting a presence at the farmers market to coincide with the promotion of that. And certainly they have been open to it. It's just on our end, logistics, staffing, and working it out so that we can actually execute something. One of the things we were thinking of was possibly working with the Friends of the Library to have some cookbook giveaways at the farmers market to kind of help promote the library and our resources, but then also something people could take away because of the event or the program. So it's not necessarily for a lack of trying, but it's definitely a good idea, and it's something that we're hoping to take advantage of.
Any other questions or comments for the director's report? Then if we could have a motion to receive and file?
I so move.
Second.
Aha. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And any opposed? Wonderful, that motion passes as well. Do we have any public comment that's come in?
There are no e-comments or attendees for this item.
Thank you. So then J3, discussing our Redondo Beach Public Library marketing update.
So I just wanted to provide a quick little update. Commissioner Hayes finally, not her fault at all, but she actually printed out her email and gave it to me. And so I kind of went through that, added some other things so I could briefly go over some of the progress I think that the library has made and that committee has made, and some of the things that we're looking forward to doing as well. So one of the goals is that we identified that priority of getting more people signed up and engaged in the newsletter, which currently has little over 15,000 registered users, a unique open rate of almost 48%. And then unique views is small, but as we discussed before, we're working on the actual arranging of the content, because what that means is if somebody scrolls all the way down to the bottom of that email, and most don't because it's several pages long. So I'll come back to that in a little bit. But as mentioned in Amy's presentation, we created a QR code to enable easier access for people to sign up for the newsletter. We've generated flyers and sign-up cards for the newsletter. We promoted the newsletter on our homepage, both by a pop-up when you land on the page, and then also it's, I think, really given a much nicer, it's been given a button on the homepage, so that's something that's easily discoverable and findable. We've also been working to promote the signups at our library programs and at outreach. So what we're looking towards in the future is that Amy has been working with the vendor, Library Aware. We initially had some training on kind of the nuts and bolts of it, but we're working to get a meeting with some of their staff to talk about content strategy and talking about the number of emails we send out, what is the ideal length, and are there times and days where emails go out, because I think you can schedule them in advance. So if there's any sort of that information that we could glean to make those newsletters a little more successful in delivery, we would definitely appreciate that. One of the other suggestions that we're working on is to include a sign up on receipts for checkout, whether that be a QR code or a tiny URL to get people to encourage them to sign up with the newsletter.
I have a receipt here today. I just, so something on this.
Okay.
Is that what you mean, right?
Yes. And I was talking to Tim. There may be just some ways we could maybe refine that a little bit, but certainly getting on the receipts is a big step forward. On the self-checkouts, there might be an actual way to include an image, so it might be easier to put the QR code there. But so we've made progress there. In the future, we're looking towards, perhaps we have to figure out the details and see if it's possible, but possibly some sort of flyer case in the public elevator, including the newsletter signups on library card registrations, library notices, and generating a welcome to the library email when people sign up for their cards, so that they are given the opportunity to sign up for our newsletter there. And then also, when Amy mentioned the survey forms, we want to also give people the opportunity, if they complete a survey, to sign up if they haven't already for the newsletter. We did talk about the possibility of having kind of a trivia component in the newsletter. We're still working on that. Our direction was that we would need to secure that from, so the trivia program, we're working with staff on creating that trivia. The idea is that you'd have a trivia question and then an answer the following month to get people to keep reading the newsletter. There's the potential for having another opportunity drawing, and that would have to be sponsored by the Friends And when I spoke to the Friends Board meeting, they were very interested, because I presented the concept. They were very interested in providing gift cards for the Friends of the Library bookstore. They wanted to pursue that initially over some of the other types of gift cards for local businesses. And again, like I said, the direction we're given is that if there were any sort of gift card donations or promotion, I would have to go through the Friends of the Library. We can't promote via the newsletter. So I think it's a good step forward to take a look, and if we can provide the trivia and the Friends can provide an opportunity drawing for a gift card at the bookstore, that would also increase usage of the bookstore and promote their bookstore services. But I just wanted to provide a quick update and say that a lot of that work has, a lot of progress has been made, and we appreciate the subcommittee and their advice and interaction and a deep dive into the newsletter. It'll make our programs, Amy's programs and Hilaire's programs, hopefully more successful, more eyes get on those newsletters and activities. Any questions?
When you have the meeting with Library Aware, if you want me to attend or be part of
that'd
it,
be great.
I'd be happy to do that.
So Amy's coordinating that, so we'll copy you on that if it's possible, if it works, if it aligns, definitely.
Perfect, Zoom, yeah, perfect, that's even better. We talked also about monthly drawings, trying to give incentives of why you would sign up for the newsletter. So I think the monthly drawings is great, and if it ties into the Friends of the Library even better.
Perfect.
And then, we also talked about somewhere down the line, like creating a campaign where, we would have we support the library, and you would go to businesses and say, would you put this in your window, and would you give us a donation or be supportive of something so tie it into the community, but obviously down the line. But this is a great first step, and you've done a lot in the short time that you had my little news, finally had my email.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Just a suggestion. So first of all, thank you for the work on all of this. I'm excited to see the results from it. You mentioned about putting a flyer or something in the public elevator.
Yeah, I mean, that would be something that I had to talk to Public Works. There's a lot of folks that I had to talk to and clear it with, but many places I've been to, there's like a little glass case that's physically attached. We'd have to consult with a lot of our partners on that or other departments, because one of the things we want to avoid is like vandalism, so sometimes you can get one of those things put in and the next thing you know, the glass is etched and then you're incurring cost. But in many facilities that I've been in, they do have a nice, well-placed case where they can put in, a newsletter or a flyer. So I'd want to find out if it's viable, if there's any sort of things we want to be cautious about. I don't want to put in all the effort and have it, not turn out successful.
As an alternative, is there a way to use the bulletin boards that exist in the police department and the building department? Because they have bulletin boards.
Are you talking about putting up our flyers on other bulletin boards?
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. We'd have to talk to them. I
Have
think
a
that,
bulletin board at the police lobby. There's a bulletin board at the building department.
right. I have to talk to them about their real estate, but certainly when many of the other departments, I can't speak for any specifics, but many other departments, when they want to promote an event, the library is more than willing to help them promote their event. So I think that's a good idea and probably something I would bring up to our city communications team.
And the community building next to the library in North Branch,
Yes.
because lots of people go in there.
I was thinking back to the elevator topic. How about something when you're waiting for the elevator, maybe in the garage on that first level?
Definitely.
Might be another alternative.
Something we could definitely look at. Thank you.
And if you can make a portable bulletin board, you can bring it into the lobby of the city council when they have their meetings, because you do have roughly 80 to 100 people that show up pretty much on a regular basis. And if it's portable, you can just wheel it in and wheel it out. And you're here all the time there anyway, so it's like great addition.
We could make a wearable one, and you could just, like a
Well,
sandwich.
yeah, I could get a sandwich, a library director with a sandwich board. I think it's an excellent idea.
Oh, it'll work.
But also we've talked about before having us go to our community meetings, and maybe part of the marketing thing is to give us some talking points that you want us to emphasize, whether it's upcoming programs or things that we want to accomplish. And then we're all able to go to our community meetings and share that as well.
I write to my councilman before every meeting, and I tell him things going on that are happening at the library. And he always calls on me in the meeting to say, what's happening at the library?
Oh, I think that's great, and I think that we should be emulating what you're doing.
And I am concerned, and I will repeat it again, that we're doing all this internal marketing and we're not doing any external marketing.
Right.
And maybe it's on the agenda for the future. I have no idea, but there's so many huge companies here that we could partner with that have, offer programs for their employees. And a library card would be a good program for their employee. If we told them some of the things they could have.
Well, we did talk about, short-term, long-term goals. And the short term was based on the manpower Dana had and what was available. And then the longer term was certainly broader strokes programs. But it all came down to we picked the newsletter because if we can keep growing that and make it more effective, great open rate right now, but not great, and good click-through, just not a lot of people using it to its fullest. If we can grow that engagement, that will help every single program, and then you can build on that and take that out. So I think, it's like, you're building your house, you have to build the basement for, the foundation, and then you can start with the other stuff.
But I find it very distracting, my newsletter.
It's too much.
Well, it's a lot. Well, that's part,
Too much
that's why
stuff.
we're going to meet with these people because, it's a lot that comes in and, people are opening and they're looking at the time spent is not good. So, is there a better format? But, and it came back to, there wasn't the manpower to design it probably, with the opportunities. And now there's more people under your staff and we get kind of some library aware. It's also, this is kind of what library aware gave you guys to work with so they gave you the keys to the car, but didn't really tell you how to use it properly. And so I think that's a great next step is meeting with them because there's a lot of engagement opportunities. And I'd love to know the stats of, because we send out, the company I work for, we send out a newsletter every day at 8 a.m. And it's 5 a.m. out here, and that window of 5 to 10 is when people open the most, or there's an afternoon, in between, because you're at work. You don't open as much, you don't see as many opens, but it might be different by age group. So with the library, it might be interesting because of who we service and all that.
Absolutely. And I just want to say I'm really impressed with the open rate. Most places I've worked, it's around the 30-something% or maybe 25. So, we certainly have some opportunities to increase, but I think we've got a really good base of subscribers, and I think everything's pointing in the right direction. We just have to kind of, I think the car analogy is perfect. We just need to fine tune it and be able to better take advantage of it. But we definitely have people that are engaged that are, subscribers. Thank you.
I was just going to say, I used to monitor open rates at my previous job, and it was less than 10%.
Wow.
So when you said
really bad.
48 today, my eyes went, whoa. So it's fantastic.
For your own, if it's your own people database versus sending out third-party stuff, you should have what you're talking about, these levels, and then, the average for all these custom blasts that you get, a win is 25%. So, the fact that you have, 48% is impressive, and it can even go higher. So, some of these are, if it's your own stuff and it's these avid followers who then know there's more in here, you might see it go to 50, 60%, so.
Right. And I think part of that is, again, talking about staff hours and allocation, would there be the opportunity to better develop the demographics certain messages go out to, so families, that sort of thing. The issue there is, of course, if we only have staff for a limited time, they're kind of pushing everything out. And then, so there's a lot of opportunities there. I appreciate it, but we've certainly made a lot of progress, and thanks to the staff for that.
I think also when they, I think we'll learn, like you said, you can design 5 of these and set it up for the month so that, it's in the queue and all it is it's, it's in the rack to go. So if you're designing one thing and it's got 5 elements, it's easy to design 5 things with the one element, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did we have any additional public comment?
There are no public comments, e-comments or attendees for this item.
Thank you. That will move us to K for member items and referrals to staff.
I have some.
I do too.
Do you want to go first?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So my first one would be in reference to my comment earlier. So it would be great to invite Tim
Oh, yeah.
to a future meeting, just to see where we are on the digital platform side and with the apps and everything. And then my other question is, and I'm thinking the funding may have just been taken away, and this is probably why this doesn't exist anymore. But back in 2017, we did a collaboration with the Manhattan Library, Hermosa Library, and where we had David Byrne's book, Bicycle Diaries. And then the year before that, we did something with water. I can't remember, it was like water or ocean or something like that. So there's money.
Plastic ocean.
Yes, thank
And
you.
that was at Beach Cities Read?
Yes, yeah, Beach Cities Read. But the money came from the state. Like, I think we had to submit a grant, et cetera. And then the year after Bicycle Diaries was, I believe, the coyotes, about coyotes. Yeah, so there, so I was just wondering, do we know if that funding's back? Or I guess it's more research and.
Well, I mean, for the state budget, there's not as much there as there used to be for the state library. The silver lining is it looks like the state park passes will continue to be funded, but there might be some smaller grant opportunities, but it looks like it's not as robust as it used to be.
Okay, all right, okay. And then my last comment or suggestion is listening to you and listening to Amy, and when we hear about ideas about the farmer's market or this, the village event, and I know Hilaire has TAC, Teen Advisory Council. I believe there's, 15 or 20 teens on that. Do we have a volunteer program for adults? I feel like they could be well utilized, and that would probably help with some staffing. I mean, I don't think you need to have staff at a village event, right? I think it'd be easy just to have just volunteers there. Even volunteers maybe helping Amy out with some stuff because she is part-time. Just a suggestion. I don't know if there was one.
Yeah, I mean, currently we do have adult volunteers. They generally work with our circulation department. There is a application process, and for the adults, they do go through a background check. And it's, if we wanted to take a look at creating a volunteer position that was specifically designed to outreach, we would probably want to create a job description and then take a look at training. But I think it's something we could definitely take a look at. Thank you.
I just feel like there's a lot to do and not enough people.
Yeah.
And if we can't get enough money from the council, let's try to just reach out to our constituents.
Thank you.
Mine might go right in line with inviting Tim potentially, but just based on some of the conversations we were having tonight, I think if we could just get a list at the next meeting for the tech needs, just so we have an idea of what maybe we want to put into the next budget letter and just better clue about what's on the wish list.
Sure.
I have 8 things to go over. First, my wife always tells me before I come here that there's certain things that need to be done.
Okay.
I know this doesn't fall into the library, but it is essentially part of the library.
Okay.
That emergency phone in that elevator is not functioning. It hasn't been functioning for a while. it needs to be done, because it's the first image you get coming into the library of something that's broken. So to the extent you can work with Public Works, that would be wonderful. I'm going back to my comments from the last meeting, member items. As well, Commissioner Wall, I do hope you reapply for your position. You're coming up. Then, did anybody reach out to George Takai at all, or?
I did reach out. I researched it. There's a speakers bureau that he's registered with, and there's a form you could fill out. And I filled out the form and submitted it. And I got a thank you for submitting the form, but I haven't heard any more than that.
Okay, if there's an honorarium that needs to be.
What they ask is the level of payment, the level of payment you're looking to give. And the lowest one is 5,000 or under.
Okay.
That was the one I checked.
Okay,
So if George Takai is 6,000, then they'll probably write me back and saying, sorry, George Takai does not speak for, $5,000. But yes, I did fill out the form and submit it and got a receipt that it was submitted.
okay. And if you need help with that, I'm happy to lend my volunteer time to that as well. Utilizing the front storage room in the library to put up pictures, describe historical homes. I threw out the idea, just.
Right. And
that space.
let me just say this right now. There's not, I don't really have a lot of detail to provide, but there are kind of some interest in the room. And right now, I don't feel comfortable exploring one option or the other if another situation arises. So it's definitely, a room that we're looking at, we'd love to utilize. Currently, circulation is using it for donations. We're getting hundreds of donations now, and given a busy circ desk, we need to have space on the main floor that's easily accessible to put those donations in. The Friends don't have enough space in their store, and we don't have the staff or volunteers to get them up into the second floor when we're receiving a bunch of donations. But it is a space that we're looking at very seriously, and there are several different options. I think in the coming months, I'll know a little bit more, but we would have to identify a space to receive those hundreds and thousands of donations that we receive during the week as a landing zone. So right now, I think it's something we're looking at, but we don't have permanent plans for.
Okay. And then one thing that I mentioned also last week, I think one of the best meetings we had was when we were talking about the books that we're reading. And I know that would tie in beautifully with the adult reading program, but I threw it out as an idea. I don't know if, since we may only have one more meeting as a commission, if that's something that we want to explore, if assuming that we do continue on to have as part of our meetings. So that was that one. Soapbox readings. So in the old days, people used to stand on soapbox and read books out loud, and it's kind of like the public square kind of thing. And it may be a nice idea to just get volunteers to do a marathon session of reading a book on a soapbox. And people can come by and listen if they want to, or they can, it just kind of brings attention that the library is here and here's an opportunity. So again, it's an idea I'm throwing out to you. I just got back from my vacation. We went up to upstate New York, and one of the speakers was talking about a works projects administration, a New Deal program that was called the America Guide. And it was guidebooks about each states and the cities and the way things were in the 1940s. Getting the individual state guides are probably real expensive, but they have one for California and Los Angeles. Our library doesn't have it, but it may be a good electronic resource because there is a website that has all these state guides, and you could put it as an electronic resource, but it really does give an interesting flavor of history. And I think Redondo Beach is mentioned in at least the California guide. So just throwing that out there as well. But it has tours and maps and essays about the area and pictures, so I'm just throwing that out there.
Thank you, we'll research that.
Okay. That's it.
I really like that last concept. I recently also just got back from vacation, cruise up to Alaska with my family and went to the travel section in the library to pick up a book on Alaska. It turns out John Muir wrote a book about Alaska in the late 1800s, early 1900s. So it was fascinating to see his descriptions and then experience what has changed and what's still there. So maybe couple something like that with more content, larger collection about different states and things like that. And during travel season, there could be some opportunities for promotion there.
Thank you.
Any other member items or referrals to staff? Okay, and any final e-comments online?
There are no e-comments or attendees.
Thank you. I think we are ready to adjourn then, if I can have a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned at 9:10 PM. Thank you.
Thank you.